Okay, this tutorial is about how to install the autogate, the SAM autogate on the xplane 11. Now, there is a, if you purchase the SAM World Jetways, it works in all the default airports for xplane 11, and it's really a worthwhile utility to get. This plug-in here is only $20, but with this SAM World Jetways plug-in, all of the default airports in xplane 11, the gates will be automatically come to life, and you will get the SAM Jetways. So taking a look at an example here, this is Frankfurt International Airport. And this is the default airport that comes with xplane 11. When you load the Frankfurt International Airport, this is what will come up. So currently we are parked at gate C6, and you can see that the airport is rather ugly because it is the default airport. However, the gates work, and currently we have our jumbo sitting here, the United Jumbo. And if you go to the plugins up here under the SAM and go to Airport Operation System and to Parking, you'll see that based on the current layout of the jetways here, that one of them will connect to the plane here, and so which ones connect will be shown in blue here. If you just click on that and click the jetway, you'll see that the jetway will come to life, and it'll connect to the jumbo. See the wheels turning here, the head of the jetway swinging around to line up with the door. So that's the door that it'll connect to. So that's the SAM World Jetways plugin, and it works on all the default airports of xplane 11. Now, the issue is, as you can see, this airport here is rather ugly, so you may have purchased either payware or downloaded an airport from an airport developer. And so that's what I'm going to show you next. Is quite often the airport developers do not install autogates on the airports, and so I'll show you how to install an autogate using the World Editor. And it's not very difficult, but it does. You do need to think a little bit about it, and I'll show you how to find out how to replace what exists there. Okay, we're back at the Frankfurt International Airport again, and this time we're using an airport that's developed by Aerosoft, and it's a lot better designed than the previous version that we were looking at. It has a lot of details on the airport and things that are missing. The problem is, however, that these jetways do not work as in autogate mode, and so we have to replace them with autogates. And so that's what we're going to do in this tutorial, is show you how to replace at some of your custom scenery airports, how to replace the jetways with autogates. So if you look under your plugin here, your SAM plugin, and go to Airport Operation System, go to the parking here, you'll see that all three doors on the aircraft are not available to connect the autogate. So that's what we're going to change in the tutorial, and we're going to use World Editor to add autogates. We're going to use Mr.X's plugin for autogate. It's a very simple process, and it only takes a few minutes to change these static gates into autogates. All right, let's show how to create an autogate then from airports that are particularly developed by third-party developers that have not used some of the standard jetways that from xplane or from Mr.X or others that give an autogate at the airports. So first thing you need to do is download World Editor, and when you download World Editor and then open it, you get a scene like this. So I'm not going to show you how to import a default airport because that no longer is necessary. I used to develop autogates using the autogate plugin, and I have developed quite a few tutorials on how to install the autogate plugin. But recently, with the development of the World Jetways plugin, I've switched everything over to SAMs now, so that they become my default autogate, because I don't want to use different systems for autogates. And the fact that all of the default airports now work with the SAM plugin, the World Jetways plugin from SAM. And so what we want to do now is for those airports that are primarily custom airports that do not have the autogates enabled on them. So let's look at the Frankfurt airport. And so when you open World Editor, you'll see a list of all of the custom scenery in your custom scenery folder. And we're going to choose the Frankfurt airport here. And when we open it, we're going to go to gate C6, which is the gate that currently our jumbo jet is based at, and that doesn't have the autogate working at it. So what you want to do is find the gates that you want to edit, and in this case we are looking at from the ramp starts here, we have gate 6, and they have them listed here by terminal here, and gate C6, that's the one right there. So you see it highlights for you right there as soon as you select the ramp start for the gate C6. So let's zoom in using World Editor here. Now, when you first open your library here, you'll likely find that there's little locks on everything. And so if it happens to be locked, in order to edit it, you have to unlock it. So turn the locks on and off. And if you're trying to find something, you can also click on these little visual things here, which hide things and turn them off and on. So you can, it's easier to find something if you turn everything off and only reveal what you're looking for. However, when you save it, you have to remember to turn whatever you've turned off back on again. So if you have things that aren't visible, when you go to save it and export it to xplane 11, it won't export unless it's visual. So you have to make sure that it's visible. So you can see here that we have our ramp start here, and using the selection tool up here, when you click on it, you see the ramp start. Currently it's just listed as the gate, because we selected all of them, I believe, by turning them off and on. So just select the single one here. It's the C6 ramp start. And you can see here that these are what we want to replace. So it's not that difficult to replace. And if you want to have the new jetways, and particularly the same layout, basically the same visual appearance, then you want to install the jetway first and then delete these other static jetways here. So go to the library, and under your library you should have the Mr.X library installed on your computer. If you don't, then download the Mr.X library. But most airport developers use a lot of things in Mr.X. It's a great developer. And one of the things he has is an autogate here under airport. If you look at autogates here, he doesn't have the same selection of autogates that the other autogate developers have. All of his autogates are steel jetways. So if you want a glass jetway, then you're going to have to use one of the other developers. And I don't happen to have that loaded in this airport. I haven't installed any glass jetways on this airport. But the glass jetways from other developers, they use the autogate plugin. They don't use the SAM plugin. So if you want to use the SAM, and I suggest that you probably want to, because all of the default airports now work with the SAM plugin, the World Jetways plugin from SAM. And it's not difficult to install the autogates in the airports that don't. So, and stop my rambling, let's get to it. So, what we want to do is we want to look at, from the Mr.X library here, we need to select something that's going to resemble what we have here. And the beauty about the SAMs is that they don't have to be perfectly lined up like the other autogates. When you're installing the other autogates, you have to line those things up exactly onto the ramp start. But these ones, you can move them around anywhere, and as long as they're within reason from connecting to the plane, they'll connect. So that doesn't exactly do what we want. So let's try for a perpendicular one here. We'll look at this one, see how that comes out. And that's closer to what we want. So all we're going to do is actually take this one then. Whoops. You have to, I always forget that you have to use the selection tool to select it. So I've got the perpendicular object selected here now. And I'm just going to put it over here and then rotate it to the position that I want. Whoops. I'm rotating it, but all right, I guess I have to rotate it, then move it. All right, so that's pretty close to where I want. So I want to get rid of the other one. Let's see here. Those little X's are sometimes hard to see. Let's see, the one back here. I think that's it there. I'll just delete it. Whoops. So what happened was that both of those jetways, they're connected together as one object. So I haven't put in the other one yet, but I can see that they're pretty well close together, so I'm going to go ahead and delete the jetways that were there. And now I'm just going to install another autogate here that's very similar to this one. And I'll just put it about here maybe. And just move it a little bit. Whoops, I keep forgetting that I have to use the selection tool to move it. All right, good. So I'll put those two jetways there, maybe rotate it a little bit. Just a little angle there. Then I'll use a connection piece to connect the two together. And that's pretty much all there is to it. Oh. Keep making the same mistake over and over again. Use the selection tool. I want to rotate it a little bit. There you go. So all you do then is save that, and now you've got two auto gates, and you can connect those to both of the doors on your jumbo jet. So let's go and see how that looks. So what you have to do is export this now that you've saved it into an XML file, but you have to also export it to your scenery gateway. And just to ensure that it is in fact replacing what already exists there, I want to go ahead and delete what already is in there, and we'll go to our xplane here, to our custom scenery, to the Frankfurt airport here. And so you click on the nav data folder there. We're going to delete that. When we go to the DSF files here, delete that. And the other DSF file, delete that. All right, so we've deleted both of those. Now if we export the data, it'll replace the edits that we've made here. So you go to export scenery pack, and it will bring up some warnings about your airport. And actually, I should have mentioned this earlier. Before you go editing an airport, you want to validate it first to ensure that it's not going to create errors that prevent you from saving it. So you can waive the warnings and proceed at this point, because it's just runway wind settings that xplane 11 doesn't like, but they're not critical to saving it. So the way to validate something is go up to the file menu here and go validate. So before you even start to work on editing your airport, make sure that you validate it, that you will be able to save it once you finish, because xplane has a lot of the World Editor has a lot of checks in it to make sure that what you're saving is compatible with xplane 11. And so if you have things crisscrossing lines that prevent things from flowing properly, it'll not allow you to save it. But in this case, it has to do just with the allowing the runway to be used when the winds exceed what would be considered acceptable. So you can waive those warnings and proceed, and then when you export your scenery pack, it will replace what's there. And to prove that, we'll just go back now to, you can see here that in our folder here, you've got an apt.data folder, and you've got new DSF files here. All right, so we're going to come back now into that jumbo jet with these new autogates that we've just installed, and we'll show you how they work in connecting with the SAM World Jetways plugin to connect to your plane. All right, we're back in xplane now. When you restart xplane, the changes you made to the airport will be there, and you can see that those SAM jetways that we installed are now lined up there, ready to be used for our jumbo jet. And as I mentioned previously, what I like about the SAM jetways is that they don't have to be lined up perfectly for the gate, the ramp start. They will find your plane. So that's much better than the current autogate system, where you have to be lined up exactly on the square when you both creating the autogates and also when you dock when you're coming in. But the SAM jetways, they'll find your plane if you park within reason of where it is. All right, so now when you go to the menu up here for the SAM and you go to the airport operations system, you'll see that you've got the two doors now showing that they're accessible from the autogates. So if you click on this, it'll show the two jetways are available to connect, and currently you're at the front door here, so we've got the wrong jetway connecting there. I meant to show you, if you click here, there's supposed to be a blue arrow that comes down to show you which jetway you're working on. So that because of the fact you have two jetways, you can, and we want to connect it to two doors, but in this case you don't want them crisscrossing each other. So let's just disconnect that one back again. And when it comes back to a full stop, you'll see that both doors will illuminate again, allowing you to choose which jetway you want to connect to the plane. So I've decided that I'm going to use the SAM Jetways now because of the fact that it uses them all in the default airports from xplane 11. So now you can have autogates no matter what airport you're going to. And the advantages of the SAMs are, again, you can put those jetways anywhere and they'll find the plane. You don't have to park exactly in the correct spot. And it makes it a lot easier for creating airports as well. All right, let's try that again. So we've got two jetways here. And I'm just wondering why it's not showing you which jetway is which. I think this is the first one here. So if we click on the first one there, it's supposed to put an arrow down. Now I've probably got those jetways a little too close together because you can see that they bang into each other. And that you don't want that to happen. But you can see that you can get two jetways that connect to each other. So there are some tweaks that you can do if you're a gearhead, and you can use the tool up here under SAM, the authoring tool, which allows you to tweak all of the jetways. But that gives you the basic idea of how to use the SAM jetways, how to install them into custom airports that don't have autogates in them. And so now you've got two jetways connecting to your jumbo jet. And you want to tweak it a little better so that the animation put those things a little farther apart so they don't collide with each other when they're coming in. But it has both manual mode and auto mode. So the auto mode things will happen automatically for you. But that's just a brief tutorial on how you can install the autogates, the SAM autogates, using the Mr.X autogate in the library. And let's see if we can get all of the airports working with the autogates, and hope you enjoyed the video.